Here's one that you really do not want to know anything about going into. So I'm going to be really, really vague about the plot points of this movie. I'm going to tell you about the actors and what I thought of the film, but mum is the word for this one. Let's talk about Strange Darling. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my very spoiler-free review for this movie, Strange Darling. I had never heard of this movie when I saw it yesterday, but just time-wise, it kind of worked out, and I looked at the cast, and Ed Begley Jr. And Barbara Hershey were the only names I recognized. They're in this movie very minimally, but I said, okay, let's roll the dice with this, and I would say it could be one of the best movies of the year. So before we get any further into this film, let me welcome you back to Dan Reviews It. If you are not one of my subscribers yet, please click that subscribe button below. If you are, thank you so much. Always great to have you back on the channel. And please consider liking this video or commenting below. All that stuff, of course, helps the channel out. Okay, so the stars of this movie. Well, let's talk about the director and the writer first, because this is someone I was not familiar with. J.T. Molnar. He did a movie called Outlaws and Angels, which earned some raves at Sundance about 8 years ago, but I have not heard of it. I've not seen it. So for me, this was the introduction to this dude. And much like when I saw Pulp Fiction in the 90s, I had not heard of Quentin Tarantino. I didn't see Reservoir Dogs. I don't know if I'd even heard of it at that point in time. But that was kind of my first intro to Tarantino, and it was a game changer for me. I'm not saying that this is quite on the level with Pulp Fiction, but there's certainly some similarities here to that film, and perhaps the promising start to this dude's career. So the main actors here, Willa Fitzgerald, who I didn't really recognize, but I looked into her filmography, and she's done a few things that I've seen over the years, including recently the Netflix series, The Fall of the House of Usher. But she's probably best known for her role in the TV series version of Scream, and she is also in Reacher on Amazon Prime. And then Kyle Gallner is another one I sort of vaguely recognized. Oddly enough, he has a Scream connection as well. He was in one of the recent Scream movies, I think Scream 6? Or something. And then he was also in Smile recently. I don't know if he's in the Smile 2. I forget if he dies in the first one or not, but Smile 2 is coming out, so he might be in that. But TV viewers may recognize him from Veronica Mars or Smallville or CSI New York. All shows that I didn't watch, so I don't really know him from those. But so those two are really the main stars, and then you have, like I said, Barbara Hershey, Ed Begley Jr. in sort of more minor roles. There's a few other people in this movie, but not many. It's a very small cast. So we are set in rural Oregon for this film, and the one thing I will say about it is that it is told in a non-linear fashion, much like Pulp Fiction. Like, as I was watching it, I was like, boy, the last time a movie was this sort of interesting and impactful that was told in this way probably was Pulp Fiction. So look, again, this is not quite on that level of Pulp Fiction. That movie for me is an A+. It's, probably one of the best of all time. But this is certainly one of the best I've seen this year. I mean, it is so wildly interesting. And again, plot-wise, I think I don't even want to say anything about the plot. Because I think the more that you know about this movie going in, not the less you'll enjoy it, but just it's one of these that I want you to be surprised about, as I was, because there's some good twists here, and the nonlinear storytelling allows us to enjoy these characters at different times in the timeline. And it all takes place over the course of probably a day or day and a half, I guess. So it's all, kind of compacted in that way, but we start with, chapter 3, I think it is, and then we go to 5, and then, I think we go to 1, and so it's bouncing sort of all over the place, ending with chapter 6, and then there's an epilogue as well. But in terms of the plot stuff, I'm not going to talk about that at all. So let's move on to, some of the acting and the directing of this film. So this was, I believe, shot on film, if I read that correctly, and that adds, a little bit of closeness to it. I just watched a movie. My last review, actually, for a movie that I put up, Between the Temples, was shot on 16 millimeter and shot like a 70s movie, very up close and stuff. And for that movie, it didn't quite work for me. But in this movie, the choices made are really something to be admired. The directing aspect, the mystery aspect. What's this guy's name again? J.T. Molnar. What Molnar sort of holds back from the audience between these chapters is something really, really interesting, because it just puts you right in with these characters. It engages you, wondering why, okay, in the very, very first scene of the movie, there's like a chase. So you're like, okay, why is this person doing this? What are the motives here? And as things unfold, we sort of learn more and more about, okay, what's really going on, inside these characters' minds and all of that. So it's really well written, well crafted in that regard. But boy, let's talk about the performances. Kyle Gallner is fine. He's great in the role, but the star of this picture for sure is Willa Fitzgerald. This is not the type of movie that gets award nominations, except for maybe like the Saturn Awards or something like that. So I really doubt that we'll be hearing this name come the award season. But this is, for my money, easily one of the most interesting performances of the year. She really, really sinks right into this character. And we see, some of what makes her tick, kind of behind the eyes there. And, with some facial gestures, she really tells us where this character is at mentally. I thought she did a tremendous job in this movie. And, again, I don't know that this is the type of movie that gets awards love. But, boy, she should at least be part of the conversation for some of these awards, because this is a masterful performance, and it certainly makes me wonder what is coming up for this actress. So that's all good stuff. If I had to classify this for a genre, I would say thriller. It's not quite a horror movie, but I think thriller, dramatic thriller, something like that probably fits the bill. This is one of the best movies of the year for me. I leave Strange Darling with an A. I do kind of hate the name. I had to keep reminding myself of the name. I had to think about Don't Worry, Darling, to get the darling part. Strange Darling, it's kind of a generic title, but in any event, if it is playing at a theater near you, check it out. If not, catch it soon, hopefully on streaming. All right, thank you so much for watching Dan Reviews It, and I'll see you next time. Bye.